Welcome back
Yeah.
to the SoulBack R&B podcast. Kyle here, back with Tom and Ed. And fellas, I must admit, this is longer than I expected for us to reunite. Obviously, life gets the best of us. Tom raising a kid, I'm raising a kid, and Ed is you're out there, you're out in these streets, you're trying to save
Writing
R&B,
books. Writing
Yeah,
books.
writing books.
writing books.
Yes,
Yes, I
yes,
wish I had one nearby. Coming
yes.
soon in January 21st. Hook your boy up.
There
But
you go.
yes, I'm raising two kids. I've got Tom, I've got Kyle.
There you
Been
go.
raising you two for 10 years. A failed father I am.
But yes, guys, Ed, are you gonna post about the book on your site, or what's the plan here?
Yes, when it is released, January 21st, Son of Birmingham will be in all bookstores near you. And the reason why it might sound weird that I'm talking about a book about a politician from Birmingham on a music site, it's because it's a music book. Like it's his story with the backdrop of hip hop and R&B. So if you enjoy this podcast, you will enjoy the book. So yes, it will be on the site when it goes live. It's already an Amazon bestseller, y'all. I'm a best-selling
Hmm.
author. Let me get my brag on. So we're
Oh
going for New
man.
York Times next.
All right, well, stay tuned for that. But Ed, Tom, we got to get into some R&B, but we got to get into this first. This is kind of R&B, but we had this discussion off the air about it, but I really want to have a full-on conversation about this. Our girl Keisha Cole, we love Keisha Cole on this podcast. Shout outs to Keisha. So here's the thing, right? Just some backstory for everyone. She has us blocked on Twitter, or now it's known as X, but
What was the reason for that?
I don't recall.
Let me set the record straight. My guys are blocked. I'm not blocked. I love you, Keisha.
Yeah.
I don't know what they did to you.
We love Keisha
There was no
too.
reason. There was
No.
no reason. We didn't do
It's
anything.
usually not a reason.
All right, all right. We're gonna calm down now. But Tom, I think I don't know if this is a win or not, but since everyone is migrating away from X or Twitter, I think we're good with Keisha again because no
We're
one
in the
uses.
clear again, guys.
We're
There's
good.
no more X. You didn't find us on Blue Sky or Threads yet to block us, so I think we're good for now.
Yeah, it just got erased. But Keisha Cole did mention something in another outlet recently. She revealed that her son spent $18,000 on video games this year. Ed,
How is that possible? Now I know I'm an old man. I have so many games off camera that are still in the plastic wrap. The Dragon Ball, Sparking Zero,
mm,
there's some Final Fantasy over there. There's another Final Fantasy over there. There's Kingdom Hearts 3. I got a bunch of games I haven't opened. They don't cost that much money. Is the DLC that expensive? What's going on?
He had to mean apps.
yeah.
And because I have a 5-year-old son, and even at 5, he's like, Daddy, can I download this app? I'm like, okay, free. All right. Next thing you know, 5 minutes later, oh, here, can we add this to the game? It's like $35. I'm like, oh my
Yep,
God,
yep,
that's how they get you.
yep.
And it just goes on and on, it never ends. So I'm just saying,
But still, like you buying that many Pokeballs and Pokemon Go, it's not that
Mm,
wait,
expensive.
18,000 in 1 month or in a year?
in a year.
Yeah, a year,
Well,
but still.
yeah, even that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Tom, I was waiting for you to say that's not that bad.
I'm doing well, I have a 5-year-old. I'm doing calculation in my head. That would take a lot of work. Does this kid
Yes.
even leave the screen at all? Is he is glued to this thing?
Hey man, you know how
How
kids
old
are
is this
these
kid
days.
though? Wait, how old is this kid?
Let me fact check that. Give me
He's
He's
one.
probably like a
not
teen.
little. I remember seeing him. He's not a baby.
Those games are catchy, man. I'll be honest. Mav was like, "Yeah, let me get this game." And when he goes to bed, I sometimes take the iPad and just get in there myself. I won't spend any money.
Well, I
I'm
listen.
I'm cheap like that.
We
But
know this, but still 18,000. I could see 1,800. 18,000?
Mm,
yeah,
he's 14.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
about right.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I have an interesting proposal for you guys.
Oh, really?
So, hear me out here. So, you know how in video games today, when they release it, it's like the most bare bones thing ever, and you gotta like pay DLC
Yep.
to like actually get the real game. could we somehow translate this and convert this concept into an R&B album? Because Tom, I know what you're saying. No one listens to albums these days. But what if we did
Wow.
that? You release um, either an album that's incomplete and you have to pay money for it to be mastered and mixed. That sounds like a horrible idea already. Or, although Kanye kind of did that with like
I
the
was about to say, didn't TLC do this? I feel like this has been done.
that seems like a
Well,
scam.
I was thinking you okay, we'll give you two songs for free, but you've got to pay $5 to unlock the next song. And if you like that one, pay another $5 and keep unlocking song by song. And it costs like a certain amount every time. You know,
Yeah, but the tricky thing with that player is once you unlock it, you know someone's gonna just upload it to YouTube, and then somebody
Yes.
like me is just gonna
Yes.
use
yeah,
the MP3 thing and be like, okay.
yeah.
So I don't know if your scam is gonna work very well, Kyle.
Oh man. Well, just a thought, but that also brought this to mind here is we're now fully into the digital age of music with streams and whatnot. The first complaint I have with that is when I go on social media, all I hear is people post about how corrupted Spotify is and how they screw songwriters and producers out of money because they don't give them the full cut of what they deserve. And I think that's probably true. But I'm going through my Instagram right now, and all I'm seeing are these Spotify wrap-ups summaries from all of these artists. And I'm like, weren't you guys the same people saying that you guys were getting screwed? Like, what's happening here?
Player, that's always the game. It's always the worst thing ever until it can capitalize on you. See Aubrey Drake.
I don't mean okay, I'm not going to name. We're still early in this episode. I'm not
Oh
going to
man.
diss anyone.
Yes.
Oh, look,
But
it's been a year. I'm ready to diss.
I seen an artist post. Oh, thank you. I had 26 million views this year, and I'm like, there is no way that artist had 26 million, not views, plays, whatever on Spotify. There's no chance that artist. So
Unless they played it themselves.
Well, see, I've seen some of those posts. I thought that they figured in other things. Like they were like, this is 26 million for the year, but it was actually 26 million of all time. But they just said it for the
hmm.
year. So I thought they were just playing funny with the numbers. But I've seen those posts too. And I was like, okay, I won't name
How many
names.
times would you have to play a song and repeat to? If you played a song every day, that's 3 minutes for every day of the year. How many plays would you get out of that? Kyle, quick math.
My brain has been mush since the day my son was born. He's turning one in a week, but yeah, I can't do that math anymore, guys. I'm sorry.
Look, and I am a writer. I am not a mathematician. But I will say this. I will say this that when it comes to that weird, funny stuff with the numbers, some people be getting over. That's all I can say.
Hmm.
Yes. But let's bring it to some more positive news here because we could just end up ranting about everything. It's
That's why
2020.
people tune in.
That is true, but it is 2024. We're almost at the end of the year. I know this is going to be the first year that we don't end up doing our 100 song or 50 song countdown. And we have a cop out to this. And the honest truth is that, I mean, there's two pieces to it. I think one was just we were just too busy to really sit around and, except Ed, but me and Tom are just too busy to sit around and listen to R&B like we used to. We'll get back to it eventually. But I think the second piece to that is Ed, at this point, there's just so much R&B music that comes out on a weekly basis now. I don't know if it's just because I have a kid now or if, I just have different priorities in my life, but it never felt like this before. Like on a weekly basis, there's an EP dropping, there's an album dropping, there's a new single dropping. Like, I don't know how people keep up with this stuff.
It is absolutely a full-time job. And I've told y'all before my process. I have a running list that I take all year long. And every time we get new releases for that week, I add them to the list and I slowly listen to them. Was it 2 weeks ago? A couple weeks ago, I had to listen to 85 albums
Mm,
so I could have everything done for December so I can do my album of the year count. And I just finished last night. I just listened to the last album last night. So I am caught up until this coming Friday when I'll have like 10 more albums to listen to. But there has never been more content. But unfortunately, there has also never been more quality control, well, less quality control, because we get so many albums. And if I could show y'all my list, because I put them in categories 5 star, 4 star, 3 star, it's a whole bunch of 3 stars in there this year. People are putting out multiple albums like every 6 months. You have like the same artist just dropping like EPs, LPs just all the time. This glut of content, but nothing sticks because rarely do we get something memorable. So I was disappointed that we didn't have our top 100, top 50. Some people have already asked about it. But first of all, my guys are dads now. They got more important things to do. But really, it hasn't been that impressive of a year for R&B, despite us having the return of a lot of artists like A26 and Justin Timberlake and Usher, and there was some good stuff mixed in there. But with that list of names that we got, we thought this was going to be a huge year, especially coming in after January and Usher doing the Super Bowl. I thought this was going to be R&B's year, but it's December and I'm looking at my best albums of the year. R&B is looking kind of skimpy in there.
Well, not to steal your thunder on a topic you might have brought up, Kyle, but I mentioned to you guys in our group chat that this may not have been the worst year for R&B in a long time, but it probably will certainly go down as the most forgettable
Yeah.
because we've had a
Absolutely.
lot of releases, but I mean, nothing has stuck with me. I've tried to get into some of it. I just can't, doesn't live with me, and then it's just gone. Like I forgot about albums that came out earlier this year, and you guys tell me, oh, remember such and such dropped an album earlier this year?
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
They did? It's that I don't want to say bad, but it's just like that's the kind of time we're in. It's just strange. I don't know. I don't know how to classify it.
And I want to bring that up because I recently watched an interview with Ed's girl, Elle Varner. Ed.
Oh boy.
So Elle Varner is back with a new single. Go check that out because we love Elle Varner here on this podcast. And as I was watching this interview, and we're going to be interviewing Elle soon too, so we'll talk to her about it. But kind of the mindset that she had, which I really admired, was like she took accountability for, hey, in previous years I haven't, put in the work to really push myself out there, but she knows that there is a lane and an opportunity for her out there. I feel for these artists because that's the right mindset to have, but I don't know how much the end result will deter her from that same thought as she's living through it. And like I just see it time and time again where there's this like sense of optimism from these artists when they're putting out new music, and then just because of how the industry is now, us three, we are diehard R&B fans, and if we can't even keep up with it, there's no way the regular consumer can. So I just feel for these artists because someone like Elle is talented, and I want to see her succeed. But at this point, with how music is moving, like I can't see how anyone can succeed, really.
No, it seems like everything is based off of viral fame. And that's why
Yeah.
you saw earlier this year with Tinashe, and she had the song that went viral, and then quickly she
Mm.
dropped an album and boom, boom, boom. And then like a month later, everybody forgot the album existed. But I remember because I was working on my list. But that's the only reason why I remember. But who else is going to be meticulous enough to create all these lists and charts and graphs to figure out what R&B looks like for the year? So it's not even a shot at the artists themselves because some of them are getting better about promo. I'll give props to those who do, but it's so much music and it's so easy to get lost in the shuffle that unless you have like a tiny desk that blows up or something happens that keeps you in the news, it's very easy to get lost in the shuffle. And then you have an album that comes and goes, especially for R&B artists when R&B isn't at the profile that it was in 95, 96, 97.
Well, I've got two examples actually of artists I observed, and there's other people. I'm just naming two recent examples that came to mind who are doing it right, and that's Eric Roberson and Raheem Devon. And
Yeah.
Eric Roberson's been doing it for a while, and what they're both doing is just really just tapping into their fan base. They realize I'm at a stage of my career, I'm not going to reach the masses. I get it. My stuff's not going to sell like it did, so I'm just going to find a way to tap into my fan base, connect with them directly, get feedback from them, and then just put stuff out just for them. And they both seem to do a good job of that. I've watched them do it. Both of them, no coincidence, have a really dope live show. So they have an audience who keeps coming back. So I feel like that's the formula as you move on in your career. Just tap in with your audience. You're not
Yeah.
going to, blow up again once you're, at a certain stage. So a lot of artists just need to understand that, in my opinion.
And Tom, the reason why that works is listen to those two names you named. Eric and Raheem still have really good music that feels authentic and it does not betray their audience. When
Yeah.
you start chasing those numbers, you start getting outside of your core and start trying to chase the mainstream, and then you're doing songs that sound ridiculous, like Usher in the McDonald's song. Why is this on your album?
That song was kind of catchy after a while. If you play it
Oh,
about 7 or 8 times.
well, maybe if you were sitting in the drive-through, I would love it.
Mm.
But if
Oh.
I don't have no nuggets coming, I don't want to hear that song. And it takes away from the good stuff that you do have because it kind of pulls away from the project. And I'm just using that as an example. But I do think it would be better. And it's easy for us because everybody wants to be number one on the charts and go quadruple plat. But especially for artists who are kind of on the other side of their careers, it would behoove them to stick with their core base and create music that works for them. You can tour off of that stuff forever, and you still have stuff that's legitimately authentic to your sound.
Mm. Tom, I've got some exciting news for you now that Ed's mentioned McDonald's here.
Oh boy. What do you
So,
got?
a couple of McDonald's news for you. Did you know that last year was the first year in like forever that McDonald's was, they're still profiting, but they didn't hit their targets last year. And the reason for that, because of these COVID inflation prices, the regular Joe can't afford to go to McDonald's anymore. And I don't know when was the last time you guys went, but it's
Well,
like,
here's the thing.
yeah,
Coincidence you mentioned this. I'm in McDonald's like every other weekend now because Mav is
yeah.
all about Happy Meals. And it's a quick meal. Guess what? A Happy Meal, if you get the 6 chicken nuggets, like you have a choice of like 4 or 6, it's like $6.99 for a Happy Meal.
Yep. Yep.
And
What?
but
I remember they were
fortunately for me,
$2.99.
$6.99. Fortunately for me, McDonald's had like some salmonella or something in their burgers
I heard
recently.
about that. Yeah.
Fortunately
So
for you, what?
no, well, I don't eat the meat. But as a result of that, to get people back in the store, they made chicken nuggets like $1 for 10. So
Yep.
I'm like,
This is
I'm
true.
all about. I've been taking advantage of that. I mean,
You're eating meat again?
the things are really greasy. Those chicken
Yes.
nuggets. I
Yes.
mean, they're greasy, but you can't beat a $1 meal.
You can't.
Can you?
And that's
Well,
the thing.
no,
And
you
that's the
can't
thing.
beat it.
Well, that's the thing. So
Now
McDonald's,
don't ask for another sauce packet because they'll get pissed at you for that. You gotta
oh
pay
yeah,
for that.
they
Just so
charge.
you
Yeah,
know.
that's a thing that's happened in the last 5 years. They charge you for sauce now.
No, they charge
Yep.
for everything now.
That's
Look,
right.
the pandemic jacked everything up, and now
Yeah.
everybody is trying to make a buck off of that. So we're all getting gouged. So I am not surprised. I have not been to McDonald's and I don't know when. Although I might have to get a McRib. So
So,
we'll see.
so while we're on the top of a McDonald's here, so we know that, they're not making the money they used to and they're trying to get creative. So I've seen different things that they've done. They have like these value meals now that are smaller than what we remember, but they're a little bit cheaper. But recently they announced that they're bringing back the snack wrap. Now, I didn't know that it was gone, but the snack wrap is coming back.
I used to
Um,
eat those.
so I guess on the level of hype, 1 to 10, but we're going to use R&B names,
Oh no.
is the snack
No.
is the snack wrap coming back equivalent to TGT coming back? What's the scale here?
This is the equivalent of TGT coming back.
Is it? I don't, because TGT is
No.
coming back.
This is the equivalent of RSVP actually dropping an album. That's what this is the equivalent of.
I was gonna say Al B. Shore, but I mean, no offense to Al B. Shore, we love that guy. But I mean, there's not really a lot of hype for a new album, in my opinion. So that's how I feel about the snack wrap.
That's what I feel. Remember the RSVP album we never got? Kyle was so hyped. That's what this is. If it actually came out, we get it. It's like, oh, I'm surprised we got it. But who was really looking
RSVP.
for it?
All right, okay. So
Don't
what about
diss our boys, Ed.
no,
That's
no,
our
no.
people right there.
Shout outs to Bobby V, Ray J,
No, they're my boys, but
Pleasure.
who was looking for them?
All right, and Sammy, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna throw
So
it back.
Al B. Shore.
So I'm
Al
gonna
B. Shore.
I'm
I'm
gonna
just
name a couple of other McDonald's items from back in the day. If they came back today, give me the levels, all right? You guys remember pizza at McDonald's?
Pizza?
They had
No.
Why
pizza.
was there pizza at McDonald's?
This
I do
might be
not remember.
this might be a Canadian thing.
It must be. I do
It
not
might be.
remember
You
pizza
don't
at
remember
McDonald's.
pizza? Okay.
No,
Did you guys have wedge fries?
No,
No,
not at
man. You
McDonald's.
guys missed
no.
out. All right, the McRib. I feel,
Okay, yes.
although I feel like that comes back every like 3 years.
It comes back like every holiday, but the McRib coming back is like if Michael Moon walked back into our lives.
No,
That's what the McRib is.
no.
Yes, it
For
is the
me,
peak.
for me, that's like Silk dropping a new album. Like I might check it out, but if I get around to it, but probably
Hold
won't.
on. Didn't
Wait a
Silk?
minute now.
Wait, Silk had like the top song in our countdown that one year.
And
10
they
years ago.
deserved it. Yeah,
10
it was
years
10
ago.
years
How
That
ago.
was
was
the rest
10.
of the album? How was
That
the
was
rest of that album?
we're not talking about the rest of the album. We're talking about
That one song.
McRibs.
Yes.
And it's for me, it is Michael Jackson coming out the grave and then Silk coming back. So it's
I
very
can't
close. So
believe
I take that.
what is going on
What
here?
is going on?
Listen,
I don't.
Silk is my boys. Look.
Probably then, if not Silk, then Horace Brown dropping a new album, I'd say maybe. I don't know.
Oh
That's hard
my
to
gosh. Shout out to my boy.
say.
All right. I'm
I
Do
had
just
you
to
look
have
stop myself.
does your
Tom know where
list
I was
have the
going. I had to
Shamrock
stop
Shake
myself.
on it, Kyle?
the Shamrock. I remember that. It's not
Is
on
that
this
on your
list.
list?
That is not on my list, unfortunately. I do remember that though.
People like that.
That's
That's a TGT. I'll say
that's like
that's
an
TGT.
That's like an Ashanti dropping an album, I'd say.
Oh my God.
No, I'll give that a TGT.
Oh
I'll
my
give that to
God.
Mama Shanti. No, she's not getting that.
All right, all right. I'm on this thing now. I'm on the list.
Okay.
What is a remember the yogurt parfaits at McDonald's?
I thought they still had those. They don't.
I'm afraid
No, I'm
not.
thinking of Chick-fil-A. I think Chick-fil-A still has those.
Yeah.
Yogurt parfait. I can't imagine going to McDonald's for a yogurt parfait. Like, why would you go there for that?
Well, people want to feel healthy, Tom,
I remember
while
getting,
they're eating
didn't
their
they,
McRibs.
you just reminded me, I think I've gotten a smoothie in the past at McDonald's, and I don't think that was a good decision either.
I've seen it, but I've never had it.
It was like a sugared up thing that they said tasted like fruit or had fruit. I don't know. It didn't seem healthy.
Oh man. Well, let's talk about R&B and comebacks now, because we just talked about potential comebacks. Like TGT just announced their comeback, and they're on the road now. They're touring. Tyrese has decided he'll split it equally between the three of them. That he won't ask for more. That is the right thing to do, right, guys?
Yes, let's get beyond the petty stuff. Let's just make everything equal across the board and move forward. I have gone on record. I did not love the first TGT album, but there was so much more potential there for more. And I hated that we didn't get a follow-up because there was absolutely room in R&B for these guys. So yes, let's take care of this. Tyrese actually had one of the better albums of the year, so shout out to him. Let's do this, y'all. Let's do this.
Tom,
What do
is
you
it?
think? Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
I was gonna say, is it too late now?
I mean, what even happens at a TGT show? I mean, they literally have one or two songs anyone even knows among them as a group. So where
That
do
is
they even
true.
perform the whole time?
I
I
mean,
mean,
I
we saw
thought
them
they
when
would
they
do their
first came out.
Yeah,
Shouldn't you do their solo stuff and then maybe do a couple at the end? That's what I thought
yeah.
would do.
I mean, it's is it too late? I don't think so. I feel like people get so excited when there's these collaborations and it brings excitement.
Yeah.
This day and age, though, in 2024, I don't know, man. I feel like that would come and go so quickly, the excitement of that, and you move on to something else. It's
And
like
and
that,
that's my whole thing is that if they come back, they're still signed to Atlantic
yeah.
because they had a contract, so they're still with Atlantic. I don't even know how Atlantic would push that album out. Just think about all these like there's not even a lot of major R&B releases anymore, from veterans. So I
Here's
have
what I need
no
to know, Kyle.
yeah.
In real time, how much is a TGT tour ticket right now in modern day? How much is that costing these days? Because that would kill the hype real quick.
Oh
I'm
my
like, oh,
God.
TGT's back. I'm going to see them. $225. I'm yo.
Well, listen, let me tell you, concert tickets are not cheap anymore.
Speaking
I
about we
told
can't afford McDonald's. I mean, we can't
Uh,
I'm
even afford a
saying
concert.
Everything's going up now.
everything is ridiculous, but I told y'all my trick. You gotta wait until after the sales go down. They always come down a little bit when it gets closer to the date.
I thought you were going to say you got to wait till after the show starts. You got to wait outside the arena, get
You
on
could
the
do that.
resale site.
I have so this guy who is I love Sabrina Carpenter. She ain't R&B, but I love that girl. She's doing R&B better than some of you R&B singers. That's
Mm.
another talk for another day.
Damn.
But I have a friend whose daughter, so one of his children is trying to go to the show, and that's what they're gonna do because the tickets are like out of this world. So they are gonna go in the parking lot, wait for the show to start, then
Yeah.
get the ticket and go in. Because apparently they've done this before. That is insanity to me. That is too stressful.
Mm. Seems risky, but
But that's what they do.
But yeah, you're absolutely right there, Tom. Like, and you guys have seen the lineup for the new Millennium Tour that's coming up, the Millennium 2025. This is a very interesting lineup, and it doesn't even make sense to me. But can I list out the acts for this
Yes,
Millennium?
because I cannot imagine.
You have not seen this lineup.
I've seen it, but I can't remember, and I remember being dumbfounded at the time. So let's do it all over again.
All right, so the Millennium Tour 2025, which I believe, I'll need to check the numbers on it, but I believe it has been a successful tour. But it's one of those things where, the initial tickets come out for whatever, $200 or whatever. And I think where they really make their money is near the tail end of the tour when, or near the tail end of those dates when those tickets go up on Groupon and you can buy like bundles. It's a good move.
oh my
I
goodness.
I do not hate the
So
Groupons.
why would anyone even buy it at the beginning? Wait for Groupon.
Well, hold on.
Because
Let me
you
tell.
buy it at the beginning because you want to get that premium seat. Like you want to get the
That's
dope seat.
So
that's
Ed,
why
this thing.
So Ed, I got a question for you.
okay.
You have a choice here. You
All right.
can buy it on day one, premium seats, front row, or you can go on Groupon. I'm going to list out the acts and you give me your answer.
Okay.
Millennium 2025 is Trey Songz from VA. He's from VA.
Now I know where he's from, but keep going.
Omarion and Bow Wow.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Face Off album, one of your favorites of the 2000s.
A lot of hits right there.
It ain't back there, but keep going.
They do have a lot of hits, that is true.
They do. They do.
We have the previously mentioned RSVP,
Okay. Your boys.
who still haven't dropped an album. We got to talk about that too, because I feel like that versus happened like 3 years ago, and
Oh wow.
still
Yes,
nothing.
and we're still waiting what the deal is. But
Yeah.
anyway, continue.
I think Ray J is like a news anchor now.
He's not. Oh, let me stop. Let me stop. You can get me on my rant, Kyle.
Journalism
He's
is
not a
back.
journalist. That man is not a journalist.
Journalism is back. Okay, so we have, hey, Nivea's on this tour. We love Nivea. All right, Ed, and this is where it gets fun. You've got the Yin Yang Twins.
Ugh.
We've got Plies,
Plus,
and we've got Boozy.
and you asked
And
me to spend what?
wait, and there's a special guest here. We got Ricky Rose, Rick Ross.
Rick. Why is Rick Ross on the? Well, I guess he came out during the millennium. He
But
does
does
not fit that.
but does he
crew.
really? He does not.
He
so
does
my-
not fit that crew at all.
So my point is this: was Jay Holiday not available?
I guarantee you, he is.
Was Day 26 not available?
Where were they? They actually have a new album to promote.
Where's
Yeah.
B5?
Where is B5?
No, you know what? I just saw B5 recently. They posted on Instagram. They did like a whole like dance performance outside of Michael Jackson's home in Indiana.
Oh, I did see that. You're
Yeah.
right. Yes,
Wait.
you are correct.
Didn't they have a mixtape that was supposed to come out called The New Jacksons or something?
That probably is still on the way. That's promo for
Okay.
that.
Okay.
That ain't on my list. That ain't on my list, Tom. I haven't heard that one.
But
Listen, I went to see a promo event of theirs years ago, and they didn't even sing; they just danced the whole time. It was actually interesting.
that's pretty cool. I'm not
It
mad
got a
at
lot
that.
of, it got a lot of hits on YouTube. That's all I know.
Cash it in,
I'm-
Tom.
Player, I'm from the days where the singer sang. Can you at least sing something? That's where I'm from.
Save that for the tour. If you want to see a singing, show up to the tour.
That's the deal. That's the DLC.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my God. Okay, so that's the lineup, Ed.
And I'm supposed to pay non-Groupon prices for this.
Yeah.
I am. Look, I'm not gonna ask what this tour costs for front seats, because I'm not gonna slander anybody whose nostalgia is wrapped up in 106 in Park, and they really want to spend $1,000 to see front row to see the Yin Yang Twins and Trey Songz. So if you want to do that, cool. But as for me and my house and my wallet, we're gonna be sitting in the car with Sabrina Carpenter's friends, waiting for the tickets to go down to $50, and then we might sneak in because there is no way. Now, if the tickets are reasonable, I'll pay $50 to go see y'all if I'm nothing going on a Sunday. But I cannot with these $500 tickets for these lineups that are ridiculous, and they're gonna sing one song each. So, not with it.
But here's the thing though, Tom, because we've been doing this podcast for many, many years now, 10 plus, and we've always had these conversations about these songs that these artists drop. If they're going to be timeless, can they tour off these songs 10 years down the road? Like we've had these conversations, right? And I don't think we realize, and I think about a song like "Loyal" by Chris Brown, which is like the most offensive song of all time. I think we were under the assumption that society as a whole would mature and say, we don't want this stuff anymore. It's too explicit. But the opposite has happened. We want more ratchetness. We want more dumbed down music. So
Speak for yourself over there.
listen, Mav will be playing some of that stuff one day,
Oh my goodness.
God!
and
Poor-
that will be his throwback.
But
Um,
I mean, you have a point, sadly, Colin.
Yeah.
Someone can dig in the archives
Yeah.
because I'm sure I said this back in the day. People want nostalgia from no matter how bad it is. If it's something you enjoyed as a child, even if it was terrible, as an adult, you're gonna remember it being good. So even though These Hoes Ain't Lawyer is horrible, that was somebody's childhood. So for them, that is their We Are the World. That is their Thriller. That is their
We Are the World.
Yes,
Oh my
that's how they
God.
move.
But
That's
Tom-
why we're in the situation we are now in this country. But that's
But
another
Ed, I have to ask you this, right? Because we just went through this whole exercise. We
Yeah.
asked, would you pay front row for these, or would you wait for the Groupon discount? And you said this is not your era, so you're gonna wait for the group. Would you actually pay Groupon prices for? Are you going to this?
No, I'm not going.
Okay,
To this.
I'm just double checking. But are
I go
you?
see half of them, but not the other half.
So once the next generation has their own nostalgia tour, let's call it the Gen Z tour.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anything better than that yet. Are you telling me that there will be people that will pay front row tickets to see? I'm just naming names here. I'm not trying to throw shots at anybody. But, the bigger artists of today's era, the Victoria Monets, the Ella Mays, the Summer Walkers. If you had a lineup of that with who's a popular rapper these days? Because that would be like the Rick Ross of this lineup.
I can't think of one that fits them because Freddie Gibbs doesn't fit them. What's the boy name? Roddy Rich.
Roddy
Richie
Rich,
Roddy.
yes, yeah.
Yes, somebody like that. Throw him in there.
Would someone pay front row seats for that?
Absolutely, because
Wow.
again, that's their nostalgia. Look, I paid for Victoria, forget the rest of them. But
Mm.
beyond that, yes, absolutely, people will pay to relive their childhoods because when we're in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and we're just about old dudes we're playing with our kids, you want to go back to the days where you were carefree and had a good time. So, of course, you're going to pay all that money to listen to Blueface or whatever you liked as a child, Sexy Red. What terrible childhoods these children have.
Hold on, I just had a scary vision over here. We're going to be sitting here, us three, on the SoulBack podcast in 25 years from now, and we'll be looking at Trey Songz headlining a performance when he's in his mid 60s, performing songs like "Bottoms Up" and "Say Ah." Can a 65-year-old old dude in a wheelchair with a cane, balding, perform songs like that to the grannies? I don't know. I don't think
yes.
it's
Yes, it can.
yes.
Oh, my boy Keith is singing to his Ciroc. If he can do that,
That is true.
they can sing Bottoms
He
Up.
has some class to his lyrics. All right.
He does.
He's
does.
smooth. Trey is just like straight to the point, like raunchy. I mean, Keith is at least classy.
You're gonna see old Trey singing about "I invented sex" and
Oh
the
my.
neighbors know my name, and it's gonna be creepy. But old man Kyle's generation is gonna be there front row with their hearing aids turned all the way up, but they
Oh,
are
man.
gonna rock with it.
Oh man.
This is not good.
But that's
we're
how
doomed.
it is. That is where music is, and music keeps getting more extreme.
Yeah.
So even though he's going to be the old man music, can you imagine what the young people are going to be listening to then?
You know, I hate
I
to say
cannot.
this. No, I hate to say this, guys. And it's been so long since our last podcast that AI has come into the picture for us now, right?
Oh no, my
And they're
worst enemy.
they're taking all of our jobs, Ed. That book that you're about to put out, let that be your last, because AI's writing the next book for you. I,
Yeah, Ed
Unfortunately,
wasn't
you are
available
correct.
for all these episodes. Ed was not available for
we
like
should have
6 months.
AI'd it.
We
We
tried to
tried,
replace him with AI. We tried. We couldn't figure it out though.
but next year we might.
Ugh.
We might get AI to just take care of my child for me. This is.
Oh my-
But shout outs to AI, right? But okay, I have a
No shout
proposal.
outs to AI. I
No,
hate AI.
I have a proposal for you guys here.
Uh-huh.
So we right now complain about how no one's making memorable, strong R&B music, which is a little bit of an exaggeration because Melanie Fiona just dropped some really great songs. But aside from that, my point is, what if I'm going to propose this to you guys because I think the biggest criticism of AI is that it feels heartless, soulless, like very manufactured, right? These are the words that
Mm-hmm.
we're saying. Tom, I'm going to ask you this because you've been spending all this time digging into the crates and listening to all these unreleased 80s and 90s R&B albums and 2000s.
I'm in love, guys.
What if AI had the ability to create quality just like it was in the 90s and the 2000s? The only problem was it was sung by a robot and not by a human being. But if I didn't tell you that it was AI, you wouldn't know. Would you be okay with that?
That's actually a great question. My on the spot answer is I probably would not care. I mean, would you guys care? I mean, great
Yes,
music
I
is
would
great
Great.
music,
care.
no matter where it comes from. What do you
Yes, I would
mean?
care because it hits different for me because I'm a creative. Like Kyle said, like there is going to get to a point where people like me who write actual books will not be needed because you can have the robot write the book. And when robots write books, it's going to be perfect. It will have everything grammatically correct. The syntax will be just immaculate, but there is no personality or soul. I be reading some of these album reviews from some of these sites. I will not name names, but you can send your hate tweets to E.T. Bowser if Twitter still exists. I can peep game. Some of that is AI. Where's the personality? It's too perfect. It's too perfect. And going to music. When I listen to music, when I listen to Kelly Price singing Just a Friend of Mine, I want to hear her. How can she do it? How can she that? Like singing that she's losing her voice because it's so much emotion there. A robot can't do that. It's just gonna be perfect pitch all the way. That's boring to me. I need to have the ups and downs. I need to hear the voice cracking. I need to hear some ebonics. I need to get away from like the perfect diction. I want to hear some human flaws in my creativity. So no, that's why I hate AI.
I
Too
don't think he
perfect.
answered the question though, Kyle.
What was the question? Do I like AI? No.
No, he said, first of all, Kyle has shown the most love to AI out of any artist on this whole episode, just so
This is
y'all
Yeah,
know.
true.
he
This is
that's
true.
I've seen that.
But anyway, he said if it sounded exactly like an artist would, and you wouldn't even know the difference, would you accept it?
Well, that's unfair because if I don't know that it's AI, of course I can't say that I don't like it. If I know it's AI and I can tell the difference, I'm not gonna like it. If it's AI and I can't tell the difference, I mean you're fooling me.
You know
So I
what?
don't know.
I might have to be with Tom on this. We have Megan the Stallion, but if we had Megan the robot and she danced just like the stallion, a good show is a good
What?
show, Ed.
Oh my
A
god,
good
this is
show, a good show is a good show.
when old man Trey Songz is singing "I Invented Sex." The headliner is going to be Robot Megan the Stallion, and everybody's going to be going crazy, and it's just going to be some hologram lady. That's where we're getting.
Oh,
So would
I
you
don't
ra
like it.
so would you rather have Old Man Trey on stage than Megan the robot?
That is a terrible. Why did you give me those two options? At least we know that old man Trey is a human, so I'll give him props. But
All
I
right.
mean, look, just honestly, we see someone sent me a AI of what's the man's name? Kendrick Lamar on his song Reincarnated, where he's using Tupac's cadence to rap. But someone used AI to actually make it sound like Tupac was doing the rapping. It's cool. Like I think that's cool, but to me, that's not the same as art. Like it's just like a
Yeah.
parlor trick. It's like a cool thing, but I can't judge that the same way I judge Kendrick Lamar for putting in the work for it. That's just me though.
Mm. Well, another piece of news that we didn't get a chance to talk about since our last podcast is Boyz II Men did their Las Vegas residency a couple months back. I think this was an August show, and Mike
Mm-hmm.
showed up on stage. The bass singer, Mike, we've missed him for many, many years, and he kind of hinted at the fact that this won't be the last time we see all four of them on the stage together again. That's pretty cool to see them reconcile, and I don't know if music's gonna come out of that. I personally feel like, and don't get, I'm cool with Sean, and I love Boyz II Men, but I almost feel like as great of a job as they've done with their legacy, I feel like they could have done an even better job of it.
That's absolutely fair. That is
Yeah,
absolutely fair. And shout out to Mike. I was very happy to see that.
yeah.
It just does something to the OG R&B fan in me to see the original guys together. But yeah, when you look back and you see these arguments like Boyz II Men versus Jodeci, which
Yeah.
one is better? And you always see younger fans specifically say like Jodeci destroys them. And then us
Mm.
old heads are like, what? They don't destroy them. Even if you prefer them, they don't destroy them because Jodeci's legacy is so much stronger than Boyz II Men's for various reasons. And I think that's unfair to them because at one point, I'm not saying they were the best thing in R&B. They were the best thing in music, period. They were the ones. And it's kind of sad that we don't have that legacy for them.
It was interesting though. I forgot who we talked to that, and they kind of admitted they just couldn't make the flip when everything was changing in the genre and they just couldn't adapt.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I think part of the bigger issue, remember they released like a cover album,
Yeah, that's my
And it's
point.
a bunch
and
of
Yeah.
cover
that
albums.
that immediately dates you. Like I don't know whose decision that was, but to me, that takes away from your legacy. Like, why would you do that? I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
like
Well,
that.
to be fair, like the way the timeline works, they did try to drop some stuff before they went to the cover. Always felt
Yeah.
like I don't want to say last resort because that sounds like they were like fighting for scraps. Like it wasn't that bad. But once they decided to go the cover route, I do think that that completely got them away from their legacy. But in the early 2000s, they just couldn't adapt to that new sound. And the albums that dropped were just kind of so-so. So they went to that. And then your point stands, Tom. It's like they got away from what they were. So I hate it. They were
But
the
that's the
actual
same thing.
GOATs at one point.
I feel like this is the same point I always make about when we talk about Maxwell and D'Angelo. They just never release anything, so they get frozen in time of their
Yeah.
peak. But Boyz II Men released a bunch of albums that weren't received as well, and so they get knocked down a notch. So what if they never released more albums after like the late '90s?
That's
Would
what
they
Jodeci,
still be
that's what Jodeci did.
Yeah.
Exactly?
Yeah.
So
But I was
should
gonna
they?
say, but to that point though, Tom, Jodeci released even less albums than they did
Yeah.
because they stopped completely at when did the last one come out?
95.
97?
95.
Yeah, 95. I was
Yeah.
in junior high when Love You for Life came out. We were
Yeah.
singing that at a little dance. So like, yeah, like they disappeared, but still their legacy was just stronger because everybody was copying them and referencing them. So they kind of went out of the game too, but they just did not, they as in Boyz II Men, did not do enough to expound on their legacy. Jodeci didn't either because they just started doing Casey and JoJo stuff, but they had so many artists that were just kind of following in their footsteps, and that happened to the Boyz II Men. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. But I know they're in the works of on a biopic now. So hopefully there's some new music that comes out of that with Mike in it. But if not, if Mike's not in it, that's cool. So I always love to hear from the other three. But I think that was pretty cool. The last piece of news I want to talk about. Now, this tour didn't happen. It got canceled. But I think this is something that's really interesting to discuss here. So Omarion dropped dates for the Vibes on Vibes tour. And this was supposed to take place earlier in the year. Now, it didn't take place, I'm assuming, due to low ticket sales. But the lineup, Ed, this is not as exciting as the Millennium Tour. There's no Yin Yang Twins. But what you did
Lucky
get,
us.
you would have gotten Vito, Tone Stith, Justin Martin, and Juan Moore, with Omarion headlining it. And I don't think they were doing arena. I mean, I hope they weren't doing arenas because that's That's probably a
They ain't
little
doing it with that,
that's
not with that
probably a little
lineup.
too ambitious, but even if it was like a theater-sized venue
Mm.
for a lineup like this, and I think the intention behind it from Omarion, who was the headliner, was great, right? You're introducing the audience to four new artists, emerging artists who are all very talented, and Omarion is the headliner. He's the one that everyone recognizes. I'm just trying to think if you took away Omarion from that and you added a bigger artist, would that have allowed this tour to happen, or is there just a lack of interest for new artists? Because you do have some new artists that are able to headline on their own, but those are the ones that usually have hits on the radio. But something
Yep.
like this seemed quite ambitious.
I really like the thought behind that. I think that was very cool of Omarion because that's what we need. That's the forward thinking that we need to
Yeah.
move the genre forward. And a lot of artists aren't unselfish enough to do something like that. I think if there was a bigger artist, it could have helped. Because look, if you're going to see, I'm just saying Victoria Monet just because you mentioned her earlier. If you're going to see Victoria, you're going to see Victoria. So yeah, you can have Tone Stiff underneath or anybody else, and I think that would be better for them. That's not going to happen because of the way those tours are set up. But I think a bigger name could have helped as long as the venues aren't ridiculous. Like, do not go stadiums. Do not charge $400 for a ticket. I think if artists scale back expectations a bit, I think fans will follow along. Now, there are always going to be some idiots on Twitter that's like, ha ha, I've seen this. Ha ha, the tickets are just $20. This show must like, shut up. Shut up. Like, they are getting their money. I would rather see a smaller venue filled with R&B fans than some gigantic stadium overpriced and then it gets canceled. So I think artists need to keep that in mind. But yeah, I feel this. I love this idea. I give props to Omarion, just didn't work, but his heart was in the right place.
Kyle, they shouldn't have canceled that one. I heard from some people that everyone was waiting on the Groupon discount to drop.
Oh my God. They texted you from the car, they were in the parking lot.
But Ed, the venue that they were going to play in Portsmouth, because I know you're familiar with VA, it was
Yes, they were gonna play there.
the Atlantic Union Bank Pavilion. I don't know how big that is.
I don't even know what that is. Someone from VA is gonna yell at me because they're like, "You don't remember we saw blah 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 there." I don't even. Maybe that's a newer venue.
And
I don't know
Tom,
what that
in New
is.
York, it was the King's Theater.
That's ambitious. I mean, we're talking 3,000 at least.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta,
that's a push
yeah.
for them.
I give props to Omarion for trying, because,
Yeah,
but and you know what? I feel for these new acts because it was an opportunity for them to head out on the road too. But times are
yeah.
tough.
And everybody you named is very talented, and they deserve that push, and they deserve to be heard. So, props to the homie. I think Oak was really onto something with that.
You want to officially know a sign we're getting old? Omarion just turned 40. I
Yeah,
saw.
yeah.
I remember he was like this young guy coming out with B2K. Now this dude is 40. And we're getting old.
Didn't he have an album called 21?
Yep.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Celebrating 20 years next year, guys.
Ugh.
Wow.
I am a vampire.
Yes. Now, last question for you guys before we get out of here, because this has been fun, but we've got other priorities here. But I want to ask you guys this. Ari Lennox. We love Ari Lennox, one of the most talented of this new generation. She has been on more than one occasion on social media complaining about her label, complaining about her career, and I feel for her because she is one of the more talented artists. But I think the bigger question I have at hand for you guys is, at what point should it be time for an artist who's going through these challenges to just hang it up and say, you know what, maybe this isn't for me? Because I feel for these artists, right? They're really trying, but it's like it's not easy.
Tom, you want to go first
I
before I
mean,
go in?
first of all, I think Milo's upset about even thinking about this question
That is true.
himself. I mean, he's
Yeah,
not happy.
Milo is fed up.
Second, I mean, I feel like it's all cool, but then you realize, oh wow, what am I actually going to do for a living?
Yeah.
I got to come back to the music industry. So it's like, I mean, I think it's a great thought. Like, yeah, I'll just leave this all behind. But then it's like, hmm, working a 9 to 5 may not be all it's cracked up to be. I don't know, but I get it. I do get it. Mentally, it's not a good place to be in the music
No.
industry. It does weigh on you. I just feel like they're in too deep. What choice I have, Ed?
Y'all know how this goes.
Oh man.
Please send your. What I am saying is not a reflection of my brothers on the SoulBack podcast. Send your hate tweets to ET Bowser on Blue Sky. We don't do Twitter. So
I've seen you
I
tweet
am.
on Twitter.
Well, yeah, I just tweeted this YouTube thing out on Twitter, but I don't like Twitter. It's
Oh,
like I'm
great.
there.
No one else uses it, so it's gonna reach like 3 people.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay.
Engagement's trash. Anyway, I love Ari. I have been on a Ari. I've been on the Ari train for a long, 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 long time. And this is not directed specifically to her, but a lot of artists. And I know it's because of the generation. And I know the generation is like they use social media as their public diary. We can't do that, y'all. We can't do that. I understand the frustration that comes with the artist, but this is part of the game. The ups and downs, the politics, like this is what it is. And expressing your frustration in this way publicly is not going to do you any favors on both the business end or the creative end. And yeah, you're going to get some sympathy tweets, but man, take it to the psychiatrist. Like social media is not for that because what it does, it dilutes your brand. It kind of almost poisons the brand because at the end of the day, you're a talented artist who still has stuff to give. So even if like this contract or deal doesn't work out, you're going to do something else, but you don't want those previous experiences to hurt the next deal or whatever phase you're going to do into that. So yeah, man, it sucks really bad. And this goes for any professional who's using social media because I see it with artists. I see people in my industry fussing about nothing. Homies, don't do it because the employers are looking at it.
Yeah.
Take a breath, log out, fuss to your homies, go into WhatsApp, cuss everybody out. That's cool. When you do it publicly, it will follow you. So when you do try to take your career to another level, people will remember that. They will side eye you. They will hold it against you. I don't want her frustration in the moment to hurt her later on down the road because she still has so much to give. I love her. I love her last 2 albums. Just breathe, sister. Get off the social media. That's all I'm saying.
So let me ask you guys this. If Ari was to quit doing music and she decided to work at White Castle,
No, Lord.
would she get ridiculed on social media?
Oh, yes.
So that's probably why she can't quit.
Oh, yeah.
She ain't. I don't want to say she ain't going nowhere, but I can tell that what she is doing is venting frustration. You got too much to give, sister. Don't just chill. And no, don't go to White Castle because they're gonna have something. And forget them having something to say because they're gonna always have something to say. Because
I
they're the
mean,
same. They're working at White Castle alongside you, so who cares?
what she would need to do is become like an accountant or something, where no one would, she would be like invisible to the public, but she could still make a good living.
I
Become
kind
an
of feel like
accountant,
that. I
Aaron.
kind of feel like that's what Tracy Spencer did. She like just recently reemerged, but she was
There you
like
go.
doing education for the longest time.
Yeah, a lot of artists, at least from our era, from the 90s, they got real jobs and they are happy. But you know what else they didn't do? They weren't crying on social media. And I know they didn't have social media then, but they have it now. And they aren't yelling about silly stuff. Like, don't do that. It hurts your brand. Just vanish. Come back and everybody will love you like it's 1991 again.
And there you go. So we're gonna finish this off. Ed, I have a couple of questions for you because you're going to be posting your top R&B albums of the year soon. I don't know if you've
Yep.
already done that. I'm
Nope.
gonna I'm gonna name a couple of artists and you tell me if they made your top 10.
All right. Let me pull up my list so I can make sure I'm not lying to y'all. So the list is actually done, but our boy Mario decided to release an album this Friday. So I'm
Yes.
holding off this list for Mario. If this album is whack Mario, I'm coming for your throat because you're holding. So I'm looking at my list. It will be unveiled probably this weekend once we get through Mario. So yes, hit
All
me.
right. I've got three.
Kyle, I hope your trivia for me is not, did this artist release an album this year? Yes or no? Because I might fail that one.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right, Ed. Mary J. Blige.
Oh my goodness. That is a big old negative, sir.
Oh man.
What is his social media handle? And who's he speaking here? I'm just saying.
E.T. Bowser on Twitter, not a reflection of Tom or Kyle.
All
I'm gonna
right.
keep it real.
All right. Jacquees.
Ooh,
Oh,
If I did a list of the top 300 albums, maybe,
Oh man.
but no, he not in the top 10.
Sorry, how many albums were there in total, just so we know?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't count, but it was like almost 200, I think. I'll give the
Oh,
real number
200
eventually.
R&B
oh
albums?
Oh,
wow.
not R&B, just albums in total.
Okay. I was like, man.
R&B is probably like half of that.
Okay.
Well, less than half.
Okay.
All right. I seen another
All right.
outlet rank this as their number one. Normani, is she in your top 10?
Normani is not in the top 10. No, sorry, Normani.
Another outlet.
No.
Yikes. All right.
I
What
saw
else
that
was in that
outlet.
outlets?
I
That
got you.
outlet needs to be unplugged. I saw that outlet.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Let's please tell me Tyrese is on this.
Tyrese is in the top 10.
I'm happy.
He's
I'm
actually
happy.
in the top 5 of R&B.
I'm happy.
That is true. That
No.
is a
I thought he
very good album.
retired. Didn't he give up on releasing new music?
He did, then he got sad, and you know that we love a sad R&B album.
That is true. That is true. All
Oh
right.
man.
So Tom, I don't have a trivia question for you, but let's think creatively here because they recently announced that they're re-releasing the Nintendo 64
Oh boy.
in 4K, I think it is, right, Ed?
Yes, I can't wait.
Is there anything you could do like that with like the John B. Cool Relax album to re-release that? Like what would be equivalent to 4K?
Oh my goodness.
A
Listen,
4K John B album player.
Like how would that work?
you cannot, but if John B gave us what's in the vault from that era that he recorded, I'd be in heaven. Although that's
That
not the equivalent. That's all I'm asking for.
see, I'm gonna go on my rant right now. There are
Yeah.
so many artists. I interviewed about a year or so ago a producer who produced a lot of stuff in the 90s. Shout out to Fanatic, who did like lots of Junior Mafia, lots of Lil Kim, lots of R&B. He did Beyonce stuff, Prince, and he has so much stuff that's just sitting.
Mm.
And I'm like, dude, can you just anonymously just throw it on YouTube? Because like it's just sitting. It's just sitting. We would love to hear it. And a John B releasing some unreleased stuff on a cool, relaxed deluxe, I would lose my mind.
Yep.
And I'm not even Tom. Tom's head would explode.
Now, Kyle was actually trying to do this with our guy Tim Kelly, producer, encouraging him to release songs, put them out there, get them out of the vault, and you got some great stuff out there from him.
Yes.
I did, yes. Follow us on I Got Soul. We've posted a couple of cool snippets. I'm waiting on Tim to give me the green light to release more, so you guys stay tuned for that.
I hope I'm not talking out of turn. Did y'all post it to me on?
We did, yes.
Oh, how did that not make anybody's album?
Record executives had no idea what they're doing.
Oh my, please, after this ends, make sure you wait till it ends. Go check out I Got Soul and go check out that song. It's incredible. How this did not make an album, I will never understand.
So we're gonna end this off here. My son is crying in the background, so I gotta get going. But Christmas is coming up. What is your one R&B wish for 2024? Ed,
Oh man.
do you want me to start first?
Yes, you start first. Let me think of a good one.
I just want the Neptunes to get along. Is that too much to ask for?
I just watched the Pharrell
Lego?
biopic,
Yeah.
the Lego biopic the other day. It is so great. I know I'm a VA stan. I thought it was incredible. It was great how they made Lego VA still look like VA. I loved it. Make sure you check. It's called Piece by Piece. Check that out.
Yes. I just want the
Yes.
Neptunes to get back together.
Bring the Neptunes back. We need them.
I've actually got three.
Okay.
Is
Wow.
I'm being a little greedy this year, if
All
that's
right.
all right. I've
Okay.
been very good this year, guys. It's okay.
Oh, really?
Well, we had no podcast, so I didn't diss anyone the whole year. So that means I'm good.
I've
Listen.
seen the WhatsApp, but anyway.
Number, we'll leave that in the archives.
Yes.
Number one, I want our boy Joe to reemerge. That guy's been off the grid. I mean, I know he does shows.
Yeah.
He doesn't do social media. He hasn't dropped any music in man, we're going on what, 8 years or something?
Almost
8
10,
years.
yeah.
The man told you he was retiring, Tom.
He
He
stuck
did,
by his
but-
word.
But who believes that? I mean, come on, we need Joe back.
Yeah.
Number two, I love you, John B, but I want your album that you were supposed to release in February 2024 to still come out before the end of this year. We need that. I'm
Yeah.
holding you to that. before
I
the
think
end of
he's
this year.
looking for an engineer, guys.
Oh,
Come on.
no
I just want-
comments.
No,
No
I
comments.
love that. I love that new song, but it sounds like it was mixed in a laundry wash. I'm
I
just saying.
didn't get that from listening to it, but listen,
Uh,
man, that's a great song.
I love this
Final
song, but
Wish,
yes.
Kyle ain't wrong.
Final Wish, my guy, Music Soul Child, announced a release date for his upcoming album. I'm going to need my guy to stick to that release date and make sure it comes out February 2025.
I hope so, because that last one with Hit Boy, I love that album. I like the
Yeah.
music album more than probably even Tom did. I adored that album. So yes, I'm
I
looking
remember you
forward to
saying
it.
it was way better than anything Keith Sweat has released in decades, right?
Where is I think the Henny is off screen because
Mm,
clearly you sipping.
mm.
I ain't say all that.
All right. All
Do you
right.
guys remember when we used to have guests on our podcast and ask them who they like better, Music Soul Child or Keith Sweat?
Yes,
How
and they always just skirted around it.
I
they
think
all
that.
looked very uncomfortable at the when
Oh
we
man. Yeah.
what
Week.
a time.
That was a time.
Oh, the classic episodes.
Yes. Ed, your Christmas wish R&B edition.
My Christmas list wish is very simple. Going into 2025, I just want people who release their albums to put care and quality into their release. This is what I mean. I just told y'all I listened to like almost 200 albums this year. These albums are so rushed. Like, just take your time, find a producer who works with your sound, and create something that is a front to back story. That's why I like that Tyrese album. He's sad, he's miserable, he listened to a bunch of 70s records, but it is a fully formed album. I need more of that. Victoria Monet did that last year with her album. I need more of that. We have some good ones this year. You'll see the list.
Yes.
But it was a lot of stuff that was just okay. And R&B in 2024 and definitely 2025, we got to be better than okay. My wish is simple. Y'all just work hard.
I feel like between the three of ours, yours is least likely to come true, but
No, unfortunately.
we will
Yeah.
hope. We will hope and pray. Anyways, we are out of here. I hope everyone appreciated us for joining us today, or we appreciate you for joining us today on this podcast. It's been a while, and we'll come back with more. I think this was fun. I think we're finally trying to figure out how this is going to work for our schedules. I think we can dedicate an hour of our lives weekly to this, but I can't hold any promises.
You got to hold a
Uh,
baby. So I understand that.
you
Yes.
got to ask Milo for permission on that one. I don't know.
That is true. So, anyways, we are out of here. We'll talk with everyone soon. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone. And go check out that Mario album. I guarantee you it'll be a 5-star classic.
We'll see.
We'll see.